What is up, everyone? My name is Ricari, and I'm here today to bring you the latest changes coming to Killer Instinct in Content Update 3.9. Let's briefly talk about the elephant in the room, which you are all eager to hear more of, and that is Steam. We're currently prepping to roll out all of the details, and we're nearly ready to share. So yes, this is an announcement of an announcement. Apologies for that. But for those of you wondering just how much longer until the Steam version of KI launches, we are now looking at weeks rather than months down the road. So that's great news. All right, that's all the news I've got, so we are ready to go. Let's talk about the changes coming in 3.9. There aren't a whole lot of changes this time around, more on that in just a bit, but let's jump into the character-specific stuff. For Thunder, we shortened the window for inputting an ultimate after starting Thunder's Ultra to avoid a situation in which the character could become misaligned. Next, let's talk Sadira. Instinct Webs no longer gain a first hit damage bonus. Instinct Web damage raised 500% from 2 to 10. Instinct Webs now deal 1 chip damage, it was 0. These 3 changes combine to give Sadira much higher damage from webs both upfront and in combos, without the upfront damage being overly high due to the first hit damage bonus. The Web Cling Ender, which is the damage ender, that damage has been increased by 25%. Sadira's damage ender doesn't hit much harder than her exchange ender, which gets her better setups, so we amped this one up a bit to make it more worthwhile. Alright, all done with Sadira, let's talk about Spinal. Spinal's jumping light punch hitbox has been extended to cover more space above Spinal. Jumping medium punch range has been extended to reach farther away from Spinal. Jumping medium punch is now active for 2 additional frames. These changes to seldom used buttons should help Spinal in air-to-air situations, especially against opponents who can get above him. We are done with Spinal, so let's go ahead and talk about Fulgore. Now, full disclosure, Fulgore has been pretty difficult to balance. You guys have seen lots of stuff throughout the years, and now that the dust has settled a bit, the team feels confident that Fulgore now has the weaknesses we intended him to have. But on the journey to this spot, we went a little too far in a few areas, we can totally admit that. With that in mind, we raised the Energy Bolt damage by 42% from 7 to 10. This gives him more zoning damage and more damage on his Energy Bolt into teleport mix-ups. Fulgore's Light Cyber Uppercut damage has been raised by 33% from 15 to 20. We've raised Medium Cyber Uppercut damage 16% from 12 to 14. Usually you'd expect the heavy version of a move to do the most damage, but in this case we wanted the reverse. The benefit of the Light Uppercut is the highest damage and the most invulnerability, while the benefit of the heavy version is more potential damage left behind and multiple hits. Light and medium eye lasers can now be pip cancelled into energy bolts. Heavy eye beams still cannot be. This is a big buff to pip cancels and these versions of eye lasers, and as a result, his instinct mode as well. The minimum reactor spin speed has been increased slightly. It now takes about 10 seconds at the lowest speed to build 1 pip instead of 12.5 seconds. Fulgore's weakness should be the odd way in which he gains meter. The old instinct mode gave him so much free meter per game that this weakness didn't matter. Now that we have things functioning in the way we want, we feel his default slow meter gain is just a hair too low. Over the course of an average match, this should result in 3 to 5 more pips than you used to get. All done with Fulgore, and I'm almost out of breath, but we still have so many more characters to go through, so let's jump into TJ Combo. We reduced the combo breaker window on a successful tremor by 4 frames. The tremor moves have one of the largest breakable windows in the game, even after this change. This just tightens it up a little bit. Alright, TJ's out of the way, so now let's talk Con Ra. Standing light kick is now 0 on block, it was -2. This is a big change for Con Ra, as it lets him use his fastest normal to try to push enemies away from him without much less risk. Standing light punch is now +1 on hit, it was -1. Crouching light punch is now -1 on block, it was -4. Crouching light punch is now 0 on hit, was -2. Crouching medium kick is now -2 on block, it was 0. Down, back, and medium punch range increased. We did a review of the rest of his frame data and attack boxes after changing standing light kick to be 0 on block to make sure the rest of them made sense around that change. Slower normals are better on block and have increased range to compensate, so you aren't just pressing standing light kick and nothing else. Con Ra's wall splat enders are now +23, it was +13, allowing new combos and setups and making it easier to land them consistently on different sized opponents. Some characters could not be thrown before recovering from a wall splat, so adding more time fixed this issue and made Con Ra's options off of a splat more versatile. Alright, all done with Con Ra, let's talk about Hisako. We've increased the range from which Hisako can trigger an Ultra. And just like that, we are all done with Hisako, ready to talk about Cinder. We reduced the potential damage output of Inferno on block by 20%. We also reduced the potential output of Shadow Inferno on block by 22%. Cinder has made great use of the PD breaker changes and is in a good place overall. We wanted to reduce the PD he generates from his Inferno moves just a bit to reduce the pressure on his opponent slightly, but we've left the potential damage on his burnouts the same. Next up, we have Aria. We reduced the range on her jumping medium kick, reduced how far back jumping medium kick pushes Aria, and we've reduced the block stun from jumping medium kick by 8 frames. This move is a key reason why Aria and anybody can be extremely frustrating to fight against for a large part of the roster. This change weakens the move just enough that Aria players will need to be more thoughtful about when and where to use it. Both medium auto doubles now last 6 frames longer, making them similar to the speeds of the other medium auto doubles. People complained for a long time about Aria's medium punch auto double being very fast, but her medium kick was just as fast. We've slowed them both down slightly. Alright, next up is Shadow Jago. Dark Fury, which is his damage ender, has been increased by 20%. The damage on this ender wasn't much higher than his hard knockdown and exchange enders, which both give him better setups. We've increased the damage to make this ender more worthwhile. All done with Shadow Jago, so we're going to talk about Mira now. We reduced the meter gain from bat projectiles by 23%. It used to take 7 full sets of bats to build a meter, and now it takes 9. Overall, this is a pretty minor change as Mira can simply go in on her opponent to gain meter as needed. Shadow Bats now starts up in 16 frames, it was 12. This is a bigger change for Mira. Shadow Bats are not a true block string from all of the same attacks as before. Mira has to take more risks to ensure Shadow Bats will be blocked so she can mix up behind their cover. Standing heavy punch is now +1 on block, it was -3, and can be cancelled on hit or block, 1 frame sooner. The thing is, this move is easy to shadow counter, so we felt it should be plus on block. We also moved the cancel window up so it would be a true block string into the new slowed down version of Shadow Bat. Next up is Gargas. Izik's special now does 1 chip per hit, it was 0. Dretch's special now does 3 chip damage, it was 0. We reduced a lot on Gargas over the last few updates. We felt that the minion special moves doing chip was a good reward for Gargas, protecting his minions for a while, which is now harder due to their expanded vulnerable boxes. So we put this back the way it was. Medium Reckoning damage has been increased by 20%. Adding just a little more reward back to the anti-air version of Reckoning will reward Gargas players who have great defense. Alright, we've got 2 more characters to go. First up is Shin Hisako. Spirit Orbs will now be destroyed if they go off screen for more than 1 second. Shin Hisako's ability to run away was very powerful against a lot of the cast. This change ensures that when she teleports behind you, it must be pretty quickly after the orb goes off screen, and the farthest she can appear behind you is the screen edge. Like Hisako, we've also increased Shin Hisako's range from which she can trigger an Ultra. Alright, and last but not least, we have Eagle. As is customary, the first patch after a character releases, we've got a lot of things to cover, so let's jump into them. All arrow shots will no longer autocorrect to face the opponent. Hit stun on level 2 and special arrows has been reduced by 2 frames. This removes his corner arrow rain loop. Any bird attacks in progress will be cancelled immediately if you input a counter breaker or a shadow counter. This removes safe counter breaker attempts. You can no longer command the bird while attempting a shadow counter. This, along with the above change, removes safe shadow counter attempts. You can no longer command the bird while teching a throw or having your throw teched. We have added 4 more frames of hit stun on Wingspan Surprise Knee follow-up, making comboing off of this on a grounded opponent more consistent. That is all for Eagle, but if you didn't hear your favorite characters listed, this is because they either had no changes at all or simply bug fixes. For the full list of what's coming in 3.9, make sure to check out ultracombo.com. Earlier you heard me allude to the fact that there are not a lot of changes in this update, and that's because as a team we are very, very happy with the game and where the balance lies. For the past few years we've done what we could to tweak gameplay while adding new features, and with this update we finally feel like we've got a great thing going as far as balance is concerned. What that means is that we are more than likely not doing another pass at sweeping changes anytime soon. Before you worry, know this is not a farewell message. You know our motto, you keep playing and we'll keep working to deliver you the best game we absolutely can. So with that, we'll end this video, and as always, thanks for watching.